And hi, everybody. Welcome to the Apocrypha Apocalypse. I'm Gary Michuta, and good morning, good evening, and good night to all of you around the world, wherever you're watching, wherever you are. It's great to be with you. This is the chill stream for Apocrypha Apocalypse. And by the way, it's called chill stream for you newbies out there because it's 3:31 here in the Detroit area and my family's sleeping, so I had to be careful and do these low golden tones so that I don't wake my family up. Doing what I'm thrilled and pumped to do, which is dive into Deuterocanon, and it's great to be with you. I see all our friends are coming into the chat room, and yeah, we're going to have a fun time today. We're actually going to do 3 Deuterocanonical connections in the New Testament. And as you know, we've been going through these chill streams looking at various points of contact with the Deuterocanon and the New Testament. Some of them are very important and I think actually show that the New Testament understood the Deuterocanonical text, these 7 Old Testament books that Protestants call Apocrypha and are missing from Protestant and Rabbinic Bibles, but are found in Catholic and Orthodox Bibles. That there's texts I think that show forth these are inspired documents, authoritative, prophetic. But there's other ones that maybe don't go quite as far, but nevertheless they are interesting and important. And I think that's where these texts are going to fall in today. They're just interesting points of contact that we find, and especially the last one we're going to do today. There's not a lot of material that I was able to find on it, but I think it's intriguing. It's very, very intriguing. So hopefully that's cryptic enough for you to watch the rest of the chill stream. So hi, everybody. Don't forget, subscribe, like, hit the bell. We are on the precipice of crossing the 12.9K sub mark. You could put us over the top. So if you haven't subscribed, do us a favor, hit the subscription, hit the bell so you can be notified whenever we go live. We are, I don't know, it's less than 30 subs from crossing that mark, which to me is just mind blowing. Because when I started this channel, I thought, gee, wouldn't it be cool if I got 100 subscribers? I honestly didn't believe I was going to get more than maybe 20, 40. I figured, who wants to talk about the Old Testament canon, even though it really is an incredibly important feature of what divides Catholics and Protestants, and even what divides Christians and Jews. And then we crossed the 100K mark, or it's not, I wish it was the 100K. We crossed the 100 sub mark, and I was blown away. I thought, wow, that'd be really cool if we could get 200 subs. And now, a couple of years later, we're at 12K, about to become 13K. And that's all thanks to you, by the way. It's because of you, especially you earlier watchers, sharing this program, watching the videos, telling your friends. And I really, really, truly appreciate that. It's all because of you that we're able to do this and grow the channel. And so if you haven't subbed, please do so. Just make me laugh because I can't believe we have this many subscribers who are interested in this. And thanks be to God for that, because it's through the channel. I was a longtime friend with William Albrecht. I had him come on the channel, and we both were doing it for a while. Then David Zabaris, we became aware of his work. We begged him to come on the channel. So we have the Triumvirate. And then now we have expanded family of people doing some fantastic work in the field. So I am pumped and thrilled every time I come on this channel. Plus, the coolest thing of all is the live chats during the chill streams, team streams, all that stuff. You guys are amazing in the chat room. Incredibly high level apologists out there, and just people who know the Bible very, very well, which makes it fun for me because I learn every time I do a live stream. I'm always learning new things from you guys. And so thank you for joining us. Yes, good morning, Kennick. And James Tay is in the house. Good morning. Justified Janice, good morning. or actually, yeah, it's good morning for you. You're in Europe. Let's see. Ligori Militant, currently at work right now, but I will hear. That's awesome. I used to do that too. I used to binge listen to, this is back in the day, cassette tapes. So I would listen to 4 hours of scripture every day on cassettes. That's how old I am. Most people don't even know what cassettes are today. And apologetics for 4 hours. So every day for years, I would listen to scripture, listen to apologetics, and I was pumped and thrilled to come home and then dive in the books. So that's awesome. Good morning, stream brother, Joel Thomas. Great to have you with us. Random Catholic. Oh no, thrilled and pumped and thrilled. Yeah, I am pumped and thrilled you're with us too. CJ, God bless you. And good afternoon, James. Now, are you the one that's from Singapore? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to keep all of you straight, by the way. You're 6'8". None of your tones are low. No, none of my tones are high. I got a lower voice. Oh, I get. See, it's morning. My brain's not awake. Actually, that's very clever. See, you're way ahead of me, Random Catholic. You're far more awake than I am. So far, so good. Currently doing equipment drills right now. Okay. Sounds like fun. Thanks for the early slides, Garrett. Yeah, I know. Guys, as you know, my Patreon subscribers, by the way, if you move to support us financially, William Albrecht is on Patreon as myself. One of the freebies I give is as soon as I'm done with the chill stream, I go on Patreon and upload the PowerPoint as a PDF for my supporters, because it's a thank you for financially supporting me. So they get all this material and they can use it in their parishes or whatever. And last chill stream, I wasn't sure how long the presentation would go. So I actually had 2 presentations uploaded in StreamYard. And so I jumped Patreon because I try to get that up there before I forget. And I accidentally loaded the wrong one, the one I didn't do the presentation on. But I think it was James or somebody pointed it out to me, and I was able to upload the correct one. So yeah, patrons actually got the material ahead of time, which is cool. So you're already you're ahead of the game. And James, awesome. You rock. Gifted membership to the Apocrypha Apocalypse. I appreciate that, my friend. Sharing the stream, that's a great way not only to support us financially, but to get more and more people to tune in. By the way, for members, I've been having a blast Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoons, roughly about 2:00 p.m. Eastern time. I do a stream for members only, and we just talk about anything that interests you. So we've been talking about all sorts of stuff like movies and music and apologetics, debates, everything you can think of. So that's been fun. So you members, I appreciate you guys so much. I look forward to it. So James, you're sharing the love. Thank you so much, my friend. Good fruit. Yes, good fruit. Thanks be to God that we're growing. Forget to hit the like button. Fix that. That's right. Smash that like button. You guys are great at that, by the way. I know I'm complimenting you a lot, but it's true. Every now and then I'll refresh my screen over here just to see whether we have a few likes going on, and it's almost always a pretty high percentage. Sub you fools, or I'll pray for you. Hey, Reason Belief is in the house again, part of the extended family here, Apocrypha Apocalypse. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, you gotta give us a heads up on what's next on Reason Belief. By the way, go to his channel, Reason Belief. And if you haven't subscribed and let's share the love also with our friend over there. He's done some great work. He's got an awesome book too, and I want to check out the book. with a section on the Deuterocanon from Orthodox perspective. So check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Susan is awake. You should probably be asleep, Susan. It's almost 3:40 in the area. And yes, if you enjoy it, yeah, help blow up the algorithm. Appreciate it. James Tay, thank you so much for a suit. Boy, James, you are busy this morning. Man. Alexandria and Palestine today. You know, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, this has been an ongoing joke that when you read the Protestant commentaries and like they begrudgingly have to admit that the Deuterocanon has connections in the New Testament, they almost always massage it so it sounds foreign and unbiblical. Like they'll say, Hellenistic literature also has this point made or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see, James. Like I said, these connections are fairly sparse. There's not a lot of commentaries I was able to find, commentators that saw these connections. There are a few. So we'll see. We'll see how they massage the information so as to make it seem less Catholic Orthodox friendly, I guess. Both Catholic are from Singapore. Okay, cool. Well, welcome aboard. That's awesome. Good luck keeping me straight. My priest and orthodontist both have been trying, failing for years. Very good. Yeah, hey, Byzantine Finest is in the house, and he is the finest. When I did my yesterday's stream, yesterday's Monday, I got my days mixed up because here in America, it's Labor Day weekend, which always messes up my days. And since it's a holiday, like trash pickups moved back a day, so that messes me up even more. Byzantine Finance was coming to the rescue with all sorts of links and stuff like that, so I appreciate that. Aloha from the islands. All right, Aaron, welcome aboard. Another person from paradise. We have SoCal Preston that sometimes will join us from Southern California. So now we got Hawaii. So we got two paradisical locations. It was me. Okay. Yes, very good. Boy, I got my mods are busy today. Lots of prompts from the mods. Compliments. I get the oh no reaction. I think I prefer that. Okay. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Man, you're one step ahead of me. It's like there's a delay. Everything Random Catholic says, it takes me a few seconds before I actually hit my neurons and they fire correctly. Well, you know what? That's a term of endearment, my friend. A term of endearment, because only my closest friends do I say, "Oh no." I frantically trying to finish my edit of a mini documentary on the Orthodox modern classical composer John. Oh, I did Sir Davin Tavro. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, check out Reason Beliefs channel. He's awesome. In fact, we're going to have him on, I believe. Have him on our channel. Your first Peter slides didn't have any. Okay, so they didn't. I did make a few adjustments, but I don't think I changed that much substantively. You should have said spoiler alert, because you are a Patreon subscriber, so by my accident, you actually had a couple of days to look over the slides before the presentation. We need more Texas in the chat. Yeah, it's pretty late in Texas, or very early in Texas, isn't it? Because you guys are, I think, an hour or two behind. I don't know. The Eastern time zone kind of makes a little bit of a jag there, and I always get confused whether you're 1 or 2 hours behind, which would mean it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or thereabouts. Oh, 2:45. Yep, so you're an hour. Wow, then it's really early for you. Really early. Random Catholic says, not a boast. Check if just hit the Patreon at the lowest level. And I hit a snag with PayPal, I think. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I don't know what to say because I'm totally technically illiterate. The older I get, the further behind I get on the technology curve. So now my granddaughters they find new features on my phones. They're only 3 and 4 years old. They'll grab my iPhone and be like, how did you get it to do that? They're way ahead of me, 3 and 4 year olds. Given that when I arrange timings with William and boot time 13 behind, yes, an hour. Okay, cool. That's really neat. Hey, Mr. Michuta, please call me Gary. For you, are there any list of the Catholic canon in any local or ecumenical council after Hippo, Rome, Carthage, but before Florence and Trent? Yes, there's actually quite a few. I did a stream on Apocrypha Apocalypse where I go through all the local councils that use the Deuterocanonical books. Now, actually, no, let me correct myself. There's no list, but there are councils that cite it authoritatively. A lot of them between 4th century and the Reformation. But as far as list, you have Hippo. There's 2 Carthaginian councils, 3 and 17. And you could throw in Rome, but Council of Rome could be a papal document. It could be part of the Decree of Damasus. So we're not really sure what relation that has. Most people today are tending to say it's part of Damasus' decree rather than part of the Council of Rome. As far as list, no, none for list. So yeah, I'm glad I had noticed that qualification. So as far as list, no, but councils do use it authoritatively a lot. Just had a bad life file blow up. Gotta go. Can't divide attention. I'll listen. Okay, no problem. Sorry about that. I hope it didn't cause any major problems with the computer. iPhone was your first mistake. I know. I hate my iPhone. I don't want to be in constant contact with everybody. I'd rather just live, although there are times that it's very helpful. What's the difference between the Syriac canon and the Catholic canon? That's a really good question, James, because Syriac canon, William points out it actually has 22 New Testament books, if I remember correctly. And I'm not sure about the Old Testament canon, but I believe the Syriac Church is moved and more officially has been adopting something closer to the Catholic canon. But I'm not going to give you a definitive answer because I, off the top of my head, this early in the morning, I can't give you the specifics. I should be able to, but half my brain's still asleep. So I'm sorry about that, James. I know William just recently did a thing on the Sirach canon, and I'm not sure if that's public or not, but just keep your eye out either on Patreon or here on the channel. Yes, God bless. Chill stream. Yes, indeed. Hey, SoCal Preston is in the house. Good evening, SoCal, or good morning. I'm on and listening while praying. Awesome. Great to have you. Good night. Yes, good night to you too. He did. He did. Yes. I don't think it's. We have. I'm still rolling things out, so I think it's in the hopper. I checked out everything. Nothing. Yes. Like I said, I have the files. They're uploaded to YouTube, but I got to figure out how I'm going to make a preview and things like that. So just stay tuned. You'll get them. It won't be long. Yeah, I have to be really careful because I tried to roll out videos and there's something weird with members. Like I tried to do some members video and then I was going to make the members public and I messed up a whole series. So I learned my lesson. I'm going to take my time, make sure I preview things correctly so I'm not messing things up. My Patreon doesn't have it. Yes, that's right. It's not yet. It's coming. It's coming. Okay, so enough about this. Let's jump into the Deutero stuff today. Okay, so let's put this. Oh, there's the thumbnail. I don't know. Did you guys get the movie on this one? Honestly, I didn't mean to reveal that one. I was going to the lesson. Yes, the Peshitta. The Peshitta. Well, the Peshitta is actually it's not a canon. It's a codex. It's a book, right? And the Peshitta does have more. In fact, it's got 156 psalms in it and some other stuff too. So yes, it has more. And it's a lot like the Septuagint. It grows over time. Naked Gun 2, yes, indeed. Very good. Or is it 3? I think it's 2. I should have paid closer attention. But it isn't part of the Naked Gun movie series, which somebody, I think it was a member or somebody suggested that we do a thumbnail for that, and I obliged. Okay, so why isn't this coming up? There we go. All right. Oh, yes. Okay. Yep. You sent me a link to your book, PDF, and yes, I got that. I'm so far behind. I'm sorry, but I'm going to try to catch up. I want to definitely check out your book. It sounds fascinating, and we will have you on. And need to get back to this edit, unfortunately. Okay, no problem. Hey, it's always great to talk to you. And yes, I will get in contact with you. Boy, I got so many things in the hopper trying to get through all this stuff, but we'll definitely have you on to talk about it. How do you know the canon of the Pharisees? How do we know the canon of the Pharisees? Well, the Pharisees ultimately are the ones that predominated after the destruction of the temple, 70 AD. And it's basically the Hillel party of the Pharisees that become Rabbinic Judaism. And we have discussions by the Pharisees in the Talmud. And so basically, one of the earliest lists in the Talmud is in Tractate Baba Bathra, and that's generally considered to be Pharisaic. But the thing is, that's post-Christian. Those are post-Christian Pharisees. They are eventually rabbinic Jews, right? Because Judaism is transformed. What was the canon of the Pharisees in the first century? That's actually a much more difficult thing to assess. And it's not identical to what later we find in Rabbinic Judaism. In fact, A.C. Sundberg, a Lutheran theologian, believes that based on the available knowledge, he wrote a paper where he says he thinks that the Deuterocanon was copied and circulated by the Pharisees, because there doesn't seem to be any known group of Jews to explain their presence in the first century. So he thinks that maybe the Pharisees were the ones that did it in the first century, and then later, there was they adopted a more restricted list. But that's just speculation. So yeah, great question, by the way. You have one less stack of slides to upload today. Yeah, that's true. I don't have to upload today. You're right. All right, Justified Janice, thank you so much. You have become a YouTube member. So hey, that'd be great. Maybe be able to chat on Sundays. And that's been a blast, like I said. Actually, why I'm asking all these questions now. Oh, okay, awesome. And James, hey, you have been a member for 2 months. You rock. Guess I got this now. Okay, cool. All right. So you are a Deutero doctor. That's the first time I've seen that. Okay, guys, let's go into the lesson, shall we? By the way, thank you for your support. Thank you for your memberships. You guys rock. What can I say? Only First Peter. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to upload it again with the link to the video just to make it uniform. So yeah, there's actually 3, but it's all on the same PowerPoint because it's small. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is 1 Peter 2:25, with a possible contact with the book of Sirach 18:13. Now, like I said, the 3 that we're going to go over, there's not a lot of commentaries and there's no cross references. Interesting enough. But I think this is important enough to call your attention to. Okay. So here's the first one. 1 Peter 2:25 says, "You were straying like sheep, but have now returned to the shepherd and guardian of your souls." Okay. Nothing, no fireworks, nothing very odd to say, wow, what's going on here? But I want to call your attention to those 2 highlighted words, returned and shepherd. Because those are lexical contacts with Sirach 18:13 through 15. The compassion of man is for his neighbor, but the compassion of the Lord is for all living beings. He rebukes and trains, teaches them, and turns them back as a shepherd, his flock. He has compassion on those who accept his discipline and who are eager for his judgments. And as you can see here with the highlighted text, as I do here on the chill streams and even the team streams, if I ever do a presentation, for those who don't know Greek, basically I color code the words so you can see where the word in English corresponds to the word in Greek. And so if they are all the same color, that means in Greek, they're using the same words. So there's 2 linguistic contexts here. As you can see with the orange and the yellow. They're not very rare words, obviously, but it's interesting that both passages has it, and there's a slight correspondence of thought between them. So that could show dependency, right? Nothing spectacular, nothing mind-blowing, unfortunately, but it is pretty cool. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. It freezes the screen. Yeah, that's too bad. Can't go on StreamYard. Yeah, I wish I could help. Like I said, I'm technically ignorant, so I wish I could help you out. It's only by the grace of God I'm able to do this stuff right now. So you got these linguistic contexts here. Very interesting. There's an additional thing. Okay, so not only do you have the verbal contact of return or turn back being used in First Peter and Sirach, as well as shepherd, but Peter says you have returned, turned back to the shepherd and guardian of your souls. Shepherd is poimene, right? The word for a shepherd's pretty common. But the word guardian, translated guardian, is episkopos. And I believe it is. Yes. And that's only used twice in the entire Greek Old Testament. It's used in Job 20:29, referring to God, belonging to him according to the overseer, and Wisdom 1:6. For wisdom is a kindly spirit, yet she acquits not the blasphemer of his guilty lips, because God is the witness to his innermost self and a sure overseer or observer of the heart and listener of his tongue. So there's verbal contact with wisdom and Sirach. Now let's go to the commentaries. Like I said, um, this is not earth shaking, but it's interesting. Oh, you got to do Wi-Fi thing? Yeah, got it. Yeah, same here. I have to do that as well. Okay, Word Biblical Commentary does make these connections. It says, true to his tendency not to leave metaphors unqualified or unexplained, Peter adds the more functional term episkopos, which we get episcopal or overseer, to interpret the metaphorical poimenon, which is shepherd. So he's using episkopos to kind of explain further the word shepherd, like a shepherd who oversees. Episkopos combines the idea of God's close and tireless scrutiny of the human heart on one hand and protecting care of his people on the other, though it is doubtful that the two are entirely separated. The emphasis is rather on the latter. God is episkopos in the Septuagint, like I pointed out, Job 20:29, and Wisdom of Solomon 1:6, and in Philo, and it gives some stuff from Philo, is the all-seeing observer and judge, as Jesus and Clement of Alexandria's Stromata. But episkopos in First Peter is more pastoral by virtue of its association with shepherd, poimenon. And then it goes on to talk about of your souls. Okay. Suke or soul, especially in plural, is a common expression in First Peter for people's lives, always in some connection with salvation, ultimately well-being. The phrase belongs grammatically either to shepherd and guardian or with guardian alone, probably the latter because guardian of your souls plausibly interprets the shepherd metaphor. So, okay. So what's it modifying? It's probably modifying guardian. Okay. A cognate expression in overseeing souls or at the examining of souls is used in Wisdom of Solomon 3:13 for God's investigative judgment at the end of the age. Compare Peter's in Overseer of the Age in 2:12. But the thought is closer to that of Wisdom of Solomon 3:1. The souls of the righteous are in the hands of God. No torment shall ever touch them. So interesting enough, the Biblical Word Commentary doesn't actually talk about Sirach, but it seems that it believes that First Peter is using a lot of wisdom. Interesting enough. And that was basically it. I couldn't find any other commentaries that make these connections. But I think it's substantial, though, don't you? I mean, you have the lexical ones, you have a little bit of alignment, not powerful. I didn't expect to find a lot, but, it's there and it's important to see. Okay, now we go from First Peter. And by the way, on the chill streams, I'm just hitting the stuff that I find most interesting. There are a lot of other ones. So, like every book of the New Testament has some sort of deuterocanonical context. Some of them are very distant. Others are very integral. These books are obviously using these texts. So it runs the whole gamut, and I'm just picking the ones that I think are cool enough to present to you guys. So there are plenty of other contexts in First Peter, but I'm just going to skip to Second Peter. And this is the only text we're going to do for Second Peter. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, look, Alexandrian text. Yeah, exactly. Lots of Palestinian wisdom. Yes, indeed. And Random Catholic says Hebrews 1:3 is my personal favorite. I believe that's one of my personal favorites as well. It's in my top 3 for sure. Okay, 2 Peter 2:13, Sirach 14:16. And here actually that's not right. I thought I got rid of that slide. We have lexical concept. Oh, wait, nope. I guess that's the only slide. Okay. Okay. So we have Dubney. This is from the use of the Apocrypha in the Christian Church. It's written by an Anglican named Dubney. And it's a very good book. He shows all sorts of connections in the New Testament. And it says in 2 Peter 2:13 and Ecclesiasticus 14:16, of course, that's Sirach or Ben Sirach, there's the same combination of ideas, and that gives these 2 Greek words. And in 3:9, the same epistle and Ecclesiasticus Greek 32:22, which is also 35:18 in the authorized version. There is a strong similarity of phrases. So I give you it right here. It says, suffering wrong as payment for wrongdoing, thinking daytime revelry a delight, that they are stains and defilements as they revel in their deceits while carousing with you. And okay, so you have the word delight, and for some reason I didn't highlight the yellow, which would be revel, if I remember correctly. Or is it carousing? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's revel. And then you have Sirach on the bottom, if you can see the tiny print. Sorry about the slide, folks. I thought I redid these slides. Apparently I didn't. So my apologies. It says, give, take, treat yourselves well, for in the netherworld there are no joys to seek. And the word treat and joys correspond to delight and revel. So you have linguistic contact, nothing earth shaking, but it's interesting that you have these 2 words that are shared. So it shows 2 Peter, familiar with Sirach. Okay. Okay. Very good. Let's see. Okay, just check in the chat room, see if there's any questions. Are there any questions? Now, I didn't find any commentators or cross references. But, okay, here's the special treat. We're going to go to 1 John. 1 John 3:2, Sirach 43:31, according to the Septuagint. Because I believe we have Hebrew Sirach here. Now, 1 John 3:2 says, beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. We do know that when it is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. In Sirach 43:31, according to Septuagint, some versions it's actually verse 33, so just beware. There's probably some versification, diversity within different translations. And I give 32:33 here. It says, extol him with renewed strength and weary not, though you cannot reach the end. For who can see him or describe him, or who can praise him as he is? And as you can see here, there are lexical connections. In other words, they're using the same Greek words or similar words, okay? In the case of 1 John, highlighted in yellow, we shall see him. Now, that is a different word that's used in Sirach, okay? But there are 2 words that mean essentially the same thing. They're just 2 different ways of saying see. First John, I believe, is more of a physical sight, if I remember correctly, and then Sirach's more of a sight that with knowing. Like, I see your point. We use that kind of phrase in English. It means not that you actually visibly see somebody's verbal point, but you understand what they're saying. So there is a kind of correspondence there. They're close lexically, but they're not the same word. That's why I have the orange for Sirach and I have the yellow for First John. So you know they're related, but they're not exactly the same Greek words. And then see him as he is identical in both. In fact, not only kathos estin, but I could actually highlight him as well, because they both are preceded by autun, him. So see him as he is. Him as he is identical in both passages, which is very interesting that you have the same wording being expressed in both passages. That's pretty close. That's almost like a quote, like a mini quote. Okay, now, guys, does Sirach 43:31 sound familiar to you? I'm talking to the veterans here, those who have been to chill streams into the past. Have we done this text before? What do you guys think? Well, if you're awake, which I'm not, you would say, yes, Gary, we did do this before. And you would be correct. We did. Interesting enough, we did this. Oh, I'm breaking this down. Sorry, I'm going ahead of myself here. So here you go, guys. We see him as he is. We did this with John 1:18. John 1:18, remember we had, I forgot what the title of the video was, but it was like the New Testament answers a question that the Deuterocanon poses. Because Sirach says, basically, for who can see him or describe him, or who can praise him as he is? And we did a early chill stream when we're going through the Gospel of John on John 1:18 and its connection with Sirach 43:31. Because John answers that question. No one has ever seen God. The only Son, God, who is at the Father's side, has revealed him. Okay. And that answers the question for who can see him, right? Because no one sees God and lives unless you see God, the angel of the Lord, right? But we see God when God becomes man in Christ Jesus, right? And therefore, no one has ever seen God, but the only Son, God, who is at the Father's side, has seen him and revealed him. Okay. And there's a couple of lexical connections there, because see is the same word in Greek and describe. Now, describe are actually two different words, but they are very close in meaning. So it's kind of like what we saw with First John with see. Different words, but they essentially have the same meaning. So you have connections between Sirach 43:31, John 1:18, and 1 John 3:2, who is also talking about seeing God, but seeing God as he is. Do you see that? In purple. So you have these, this is a pretty interesting integration. Now let me just peek at the next slide because I can't remember. So seeing God in the Old Testament. Oh, I did not give the updated. I must not have saved the PowerPoint. Darn it. Okay, seeing God in the Old Testament. There are some passages in the Psalms that speak about us seeing God, but none of them says that we'll see God as he is. That features only in 1 John and it's in the question posed by Sirach. You see that? So let's go to the commentators. This is actually not a commentary. It's a standard Greek lexicon. Like any Protestant pastor out there worth their salt has a set. This is a 10-volume set edited by Gerhard Kittel. So it's usually called Kittel, but his full name is the Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. It's actually very good. I've owned this for years. I went broke. It was very expensive. And it was one of the first big expensive investments in apologetics I made. So actually, you know what? Now that I remember, I actually didn't buy this set. This was gifted to me by a close friend. So thank you, Susan, for gifting me this set. And I've been using it ever since. So so the Theological Dictionary, John comments on John 1:18. It says there's a clear affinity between John 1:18 and Sirach 43:31-33. And the footnote says, in fact, that John, who must have read Sirach in Hebrew, as the word basically is like describe, translated describe him, who will describe him. That Greek word, rather than the one that's used in Sirach, recount in full, implies only a slight difference from the Hebrew. So I bring this up because, and I didn't really point this out when we looked at John. Okay. John 1:18 says, no one has ever seen God. The only Son, God, who's at the Father's side, has revealed him. Okay. The Greek word there, highlighted in green, revealed him, is not the same word as the one in Sirach, which is in blue, describe him, although the meanings are very close. What Kittel is pointing out is that it seems likely that John was actually reading Sirach in Hebrew, because the Hebrew word here is such that both of these Greek words could be used to translate it. Interesting enough. So this is something unique that I found with the Deuterocanon. It's one of those rare instances where we can actually say that a New Testament author is likely not only reading the Deuterocanon, but reading it in a particular form, like in the Hebrew for Sirach, not the Greek, which would account, by the way, let me go back, which would account for the reason why we don't have lexical agreement here. It's not perfect lexical agreement. There are two different Greek words being used in the passage. And that's because they're both translating a common Hebrew text. So interesting stuff. And then one more commentary, and this is Dubney's use of the Apocrypha in the Christian Church. And it says, one more instance from the New Testament of the apocryphal knowledge of its writers. St. John, in his first epistle, 3:2, so this is 1 John 3:2, uses the well-remembered words, we shall see him as he is. In Sirach 43:31, we read, who hath seen him that he might tell us, or who might magnify him as he is? Here the sentence is indeed broken and the idea of magnifying inserted, which John omits, but the same verb for seeing is used in different tense. Both verses conclude alike, word for word, with auton kathos estin as applied to God. And I think that is really cool. I think it almost approaches a quotation. If not, it is a quotation. It's just a really short one, because there's a word-for-word correspondence with as he is, pertaining to the same subject, which is God. And of course, with John, Jesus is God. So it's very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And again, I think this also could be used in apologetics, these connections here, to show that yeah, John is understanding Jesus to be the same God described by Sirach, right? Not like a lesser God or another God. It's the same God. So there you go, guys. I thought this was really cool. And of course, the other thing too, it's interesting that both John and First John are both Johannine, right? They're both written by the same author. Yet you have the Gospel of John and the first epistle of John both using Sirach in slightly different ways, but it's the same verse. Isn't that cool? So that has all sorts of ramifications. Like, first, I think it shows that John most definitely used Sirach, right? He must have held Sirach in high regard, if not authoritative sacred scripture. For the epistle and the gospel to both be referencing the same verse. Second, I think it also shows that the epistle of John and gospel of John are likely written by the same author, because they both using the same text in the same way in two different texts, right? So I think that's like another additional argument you can make for the Johannine authorship of First John. Not that that's disputed. Like, all scholars basically punt to the fact that First John is written by John, the author of the gospel. But if someone ever disputes it, here's like an additional level of argumentation for Johannine authorship, and it's using a Deuterocanonical text. Fun stuff. And that's it, guys. We did 3 texts this chill stream, and I think the last one is particularly fun and interesting. Don't you? The other 2 were cool, but they don't really say much. And I don't think you could say most definitely they're dependent on these texts. This, I would say, given the chill stream we did on John 1:18, I would say, yeah, this is a much more robust case for dependency, and possibly also showing that there's some authority here. So, like, the beautiful thing about this is if you have the Deuterocanon or so-called Apocrypha in your Bible, it raises a question that the New Testament answers. How's that for parody, huh? All right. Let's see here. Let's bring me back up. All right. That's the presentation, folks. And I'm sticking by it. I think I actually didn't save an update. I tried to update right before the show the slides, and I must not have saved it, and I uploaded the old version. Let me just look really quick. There's nothing new here. I just tried to make it a little bit easier for you to see the connections. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. So I'll upload the best version that I have to Patreon right after the show. So patrons, you'll be getting another installment of better slides. And yes, exactly. That's what I meant. Parody rather than parody. Yes. Thank you for that distinction, Random Catholic. That was very random. And so you have a great name. In fact, as I said it, I thought, I wonder if people would know the word parody. Is this also talking about theosis in 1 John 3, that we shall be like him? Yeah, I think so. Of course, that's talking about at the end of time, we will see him as he is. Version 2.0. That's right. You'll get the 2.0 in Patreon. Oh, I gotta wake up. Let's see. Random is as Raymond does. Yes, indeed. And that's what makes you thrilling, because we never know what is going to show up in the chat room. You keep us on the edge of our seats, Random Catholic, by your randomness. Cool. Okay, guys, that's it. Any questions? Anything you want to talk about before I sign off? Unfortunately, it was a short one, but it was one I was looking forward to. Next chill stream, which will be, God willing, Thursday. Let's see, what is next on the docket? I think we're going to go to Revelation next, and then we'll be done. Let's see here. I'm trying to open. We're aware. Yes, we're going to go to Revelation 8 next chill stream. And that one's pretty famous. And I hopefully will, it'll interest you guys. That's actually a connection with Tobit, if I remember correctly. Tomorrow is the feast of St. Gregory the Great. Awesome. Gregory the Great. Pray for us. Who also is one of those early church fathers that's brought up by non-Catholics. So maybe we should, we're going to do a team stream tomorrow at 2 p.m., God willing. We'll have to treat Gregory the Great. Since it's his feast day, we could talk a little bit about him. I'm not sure what William has in store for us. We're waiting for John Bergsma. Unfortunately, he was going to be on last Friday, but something came up and he wasn't able to do the stream with us. So we're going to have Dr. Bergsma come on soon. Don't know when, but as soon as he's available, we'll get him on. We'll talk about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let's see. Beautiful explanation, Gary, as always. Even if it puts Sam to sleep, LOL. Yeah, we haven't seen Sam sleeping in the chat room. I'm worried about Sam. He needs to sleep. Who supposedly denied the Deuterocanon? Yeah, that's Gregory the Great wrote an enormous amount of words. It's his commentary on Job is huge. And he quotes the Deuterocanon dozens and dozens of times throughout his commentary. But there's one qualification, just one time he says, if you're willing to accept it or something like that. And all of a sudden, he's like on every list of someone who rejected the Deuterocanon. I don't get it. This one single qualification, even though he's citing Tobit, he's citing Sirach, he's citing wisdom, all over the place. He says, if you're willing to accept it as canonical or something like that, the one qualification, and all of a sudden he's like a chief objector to the Deuterocanon. By the way, we treated Gregory the Great on the channel, and we've gone in depth. Man, you should have gotten Father Kappas to go through the article properly. Through the article proper. I'm not sure what article you're speaking of. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I'm missing something about an article. I'm not sure what the article is. I love John Bergsma. He does awesome work. Yeah, he's excellent. I could sit and listen to him for hours. And he's very funny too. If you ever get a chance to see him do a live talk. From what I understand, his classes are also like his live talks. He's famous for stick figures. In fact, he wrote a book that they reproduced the stick figures that he uses for illustrations. Didn't he also use others in the same passage? Are you talking about Gregory the Great using others in the same? His article on Gregory the Great. Father Kappas article? I'm kind of lost. I'm not sure. He disconnected during the stream. Okay. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, we did that with Father Kappas, right? He was talking about Gregory the Great. I have a little bit different take on Gregory the Great than Father Kappas, although I think it's complementary. But you're right. I totally forgot about that. James, you got a great memory. You're far back. Yeah. You got a great memory. I forgot about that. Interesting. Yeah, we never did have him back, did we? I think he was in his car or something when he was on the stream. Question on him using others in referring to Gregory the Great. Yeah, boy, I can't remember. It's been a while back. I didn't even remember him being on talking about Gregory the Great. That's right. That's something I have a mental note that I apparently have lost, along with the rest of my mental abilities, of looking further into Father Kappas, his notes, his ideas. I prefer mine just because I've researched it and I feel pretty confident about what's going on with Gregory the Great. But I'll have to revisit that. See, the thing with Gregory the Great, first it took him a long time to write that work where he qualifies Maccabees, and he uses both the Old Latin and Jerome's text, and he makes some very important comments in the introduction to the work, which of course Protestants don't read. They don't read the whole work. They just cite secondary sources that quote Gregory the Great. But if you read the introduction, Gregory basically says that he's trying to incorporate both the new translation and the old, meaning Jerome's new translation and the old. So he's familiar with what's going on in the Vulgate, and he's familiar with Jerome's prefaces to the Vulgate. And that's why he makes the qualification, because he realizes that St. Jerome says that this is apocryphal. And so Gregory just basically says, I'm adducing this, even if it's not in the canon, because it's to the point. But he's not like definitively saying this is apocrypha. He's just kind of like noting that Jerome had called questions to it. And he's saying, nevertheless, we can use it for edification. And by the way, the whole work is about edifying. The whole point of it was to edify people through scripture. And so it's not even a dogmatic work. So, yeah, we should have. We dropped the ball, James. You're absolutely right. I wish I had my keeping all the balls in the air as I'm juggling everything here at the Apocrypha Apocalypse. That would have been really good. Of course, Father Kappas is a very, very busy guy. He runs a seminary. He writes books, research. It's hard to get a hold of him. Hence, the interview with him over the phone while driving on his feast day. Yeah, that would have been nice. My memory is nowhere as sharp as it was. Yeah, I know. The good thing is my memory is so bad I don't remember the things that I haven't remembered. So I have no clue what my status of memory is. What's yours? What's my feast day? What? I'm not sure what yours refers to. Sorry, I'm trying to follow the streams of thought here. Yeah. Yeah, we're all part of the defective memory club. Someone I know called Father Kappas' conclusion bizarre. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even remember what his point was, to tell you the truth. That's a shame. That's why I didn't remember him on the stream. I don't remember what the point he was making. I think he investigated like the background to the use of certain words. No, that's the one. What's your view on Gregory and the Deuteros? Okay, Jay, I guess I'm mixing up all your different threads here. Father Kappa's conclusion is bizarre. Okay, so he's talking about that, and then you say, no. That's my view, your view on the, yeah, Father Kappas did do that. Okay. Okay, so now we're straight. Okay, everyone else is lost, but we're straight. Cool. Okay, any last call for questions, guys? Anything you need to know about the Deuterocanon before we close the chill stream? By the way, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you for the memberships, guys. More membership material. I'm going to be unloading or uploading or revealing the third part in my series on errors in Judith for members. And also, I got a bunch of stuff William sent me for members and Patreon. And so there's lots of cool stuff coming down the pike. Also, as you know, on this channel, we're going to do Team Stream, God willing, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Hopefully, William and David will join me. Maybe we'll have Bergsma. I don't know. We'll find out. And then the next chill stream, 3:30 a.m., God willing, will be Thursday. So Team Stream Wednesday, chill stream Thursday. There you go. You should copy what Williams does. Start every chill stream and team stream with a prayer. I do pray up, but I pray up before I go online. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're correct. Yeah, William does do that. Yeah. Very good, guys. I don't see anything, so I think we'll just close it. But before we do that, we need a secret word so you guys can flex in the chat room. Oops, where did I? How come that's there? How come that's there? Okay, put this up here. There we go. Let's figure out what our secret word is so you guys can flex in the chat room. What would be a good secret word? I'm open to suggestions. We did Naked Gun last stream. Drebin or lobster. Actually, I like lobster. Let's do lobster because people might not know what Frank Drebin is, but that was a very good suggestion, by the way. Sir Eclipse a lot. Let's go with lobster, just because everybody knows what lobster is, and it gets spelled. Like if someone held a gun to my head and spelled Frank Drebin correctly, I couldn't do it. Lobster's easier. Gregorian's a really good suggestion too, James. But I think we're going to go with lobster. That's easier. Oh, yeah, no problem. In fact, I have a whole bunch of suggestions that you guys made on thumbnails. And so I'm going to be rolling them out. So if you suggested one, just keep watching the stream. And eventually it will come out and there will be much rejoicing, to quote Monty Python. Okay. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great evening, a great morning, great afternoon, great day. And till next time, I am Gary Michuta, and you have watched the Apocrypha Apocalypse Chill Stream. Don't forget to flex in the chat room and subscribe and like and all that stuff. God bless. Bye-bye.